What if I told you that in just 48 laps, Oscar Piastri completely changed Lando Norris' perception of the MCL40's potential? What did McLaren see in that data that they didn't even expect to find? When McLaren arrived at the Barcelona-Catalonia circuit for the 2026 preseason tests, no one, not even its own drivers, was prepared for what was going to happen. The team had adopted an approach diametrically opposed to that of the rest of the teams. While Mercedes, Ferrari, Red Bull and others had completed traditional shakedowns weeks before, accumulating data on the track in a classic way, McLaren opted for a different, almost revolutionary philosophy. Performance had to be validated in the most controlled and precise environment possible before risking it publicly. But what happened on the track was even more astonishing. Oscar Piastri left on Thursday, January 29th, with a limited program due to an unexpected problem in the fuel system, which forced a large part of the car to be dismantled. Despite that setback, what he did in just 48 laps was enough to shake the team's internal perception. His time of 1 minute and 18.419 seconds not only placed him fourth on the day's leaderboard, but also demonstrated clinically precise execution. Every lap was an exercise in control. No lockups, no oversteer or unnecessary corrections, and extraordinary energy efficiency. The deployment of the hybrid system was so optimized that the data showed minimal peaks in desynchronization loss, meaning Piastri knew exactly when and how to release the electric power to maximize traction without compromising the car's balance. The most shocking thing was not just the speed. It was the fact that, according to telemetry, Piastri extracted more performance from the car than his own teammate, Lando Norris, who had completed 77 laps the day before. Under similar fuel and temperature conditions, the Australian was 0.3 faster. This caused an uncomfortable silence inside the McLaren box, but not out of discontent. It was contained admiration. The question hung in the air: had they just witnessed a qualitative leap in Piastri's evolution? Or was the MCL40 revealing a potential that not even Norris, runner-up in the world in 2024, had yet managed to unlock? What followed was intense analysis of the data by the engineers. Comparisons were made between the laps of both drivers. Piastri's corner entry showed more intelligent use of the downforce generated by the new rear diffuser, and its braking was more progressive, adapting more naturally to the car's new reduced rake. It was also discovered that it had exploited the new differential management system more efficiently in medium-speed corners, obtaining better traction in areas such as the third sector of the Catalan circuit. Despite the Australian's youth, his driving had the clarity of a veteran driver. Every decision behind the wheel seemed backed by an intuitive understanding of the MCL40's behavior, as if I had already driven hundreds of laps with it, when in fact I had just started. The most revealing thing was how his verbal observations during the technical debrief coincided with the data collected by the sensors. Where he pointed out load losses or irregularities in the delivery of electrical torque, the numbers confirmed it without margin of error. This turned his feedback into pure gold for the development team, marking a brutal difference compared to what is normally expected from a driver with such little mileage in a new generation of single-seaters. From the outside, for the rival engineers who were observing the session from their monitors, what McLaren was doing seemed almost like a provocation. They had waited until the third day to go out on the track, and in less than 50 laps they were already dictating the pace, not so much in the stopwatch but in technical precision. That day the paddock not only saw a promising car, he saw the birth of a serious threat for 2026. And inside the box, Lando Norris, far from feeling displaced, knew how to read the moment. He was facing a teammate who was no longer just a promise, but an internal competition that could push the entire team to the next level. Formula One is a sport where emotions and hierarchy are not defined by speeches or public statements, but by the tangible evidence provided by the data. When January 29th ended and the computers in the McLaren garage began to process the 48 laps completed by Oscar Piastri, a crucial moment was activated, almost silent, but decisive. Lando Norris, the man who had led the team since Ricciardo left, was forced to face a reality that he had not expected so soon. Although Norris had had a solid day with 77 laps and consistent performance, it was Piastri's surgical performance that sparked an unexpected internal analysis. McLaren compared lap by lap, sector by sector. Piastri's style was radically different. Where Norris applied his well-known aggressiveness at corner entry, looking for later braking points to generate advantages with explosive reactions, Piastri showed a completely different reading. Full use of the aerodynamic flow, management of lateral grip without compromising wear, and a use of hybrid energy that seemed to have come straight from the simulation laboratories. The most disturbing thing for any elite pilot is not being surpassed in time, but discovering that his partner was more efficient, cleaner, and, above all, more precise. And that was what Norris observed on the monitors, that his style, although effective, seemed to extract less stability from the car itself. The MCL40, with its new modified center of gravity, with its rake optimized for medium support curves and its engine maps calibrated for elevation changes, felt more comfortable in the hands of someone who treated it with less violence and more science. Internally, the team detected that Piastri, without seeking it directly, had taught the team something that they had not yet clearly identified: the exact balance between speed and conservation in this new generation of single-seaters. Where Norris pushed the limit, Piastri sailed over it. And that difference in approach created a major technical dilemma. Was the car being developed solely to maximize Norris's talents? Or had they found a base configuration that could redefine the MCL40 setup philosophy? Norris's reaction was as revealing as it was mature. Instead of hiding his surprise, he asked for immediate access to his partner's data. He wanted to understand how it was possible that in comparable conditions, with fewer laps, and after a mechanical problem, Piastri would have been more consistent in long stints, more stable in traction phases, and finer in energy recovery. In front of the technical staff and according to paddock sources present at the analysis session, Norris remained silent for several minutes while observing Piastri's behavior in turns 4, 7, and 9, areas where he himself had experienced small losses of balance. There, the data revealed that Piastri had better managed the electric torque transition, anticipating torque delivery and reducing the risk of oversteer induced by the recovered energy. In the heart of Woking, McLaren did not design the MCL40 with the intention of breaking timers in the opening laps. He built it with a much more ambitious idea: to dominate with precision. Andrea Stella, team director, has repeated time and time again that success in this new era of Formula One is not measured exclusively by immediate victories, but by the ability to systematically eliminate margins of error. And the MCL40 is the most refined expression of that philosophy. By 2026, McLaren decided to break with the traditional logic of incremental development. Instead of building on an already validated foundation, they chose to redesign key areas of the car with a 2-year vision. One of the biggest changes was the complete redesign of the cooling system, now optimized not only to reduce aerodynamic drag, but also to maintain the thermal stability of the hybrid package in extreme conditions. This, in combination with a new energy management system that reconfigures the deployment of the ERS based on the driving pattern, allows the car to sustain a more constant level of performance even over long runs and adverse weather. The rear of the car was also the subject of a silent but revolutionary transformation. McLaren introduced a new multi-link rear suspension design, which works in sync with a dual-stage damper system. This means the car can dynamically adapt to changing loads without compromising traction or inducing understeer or oversteer at the limit. This change was so radical that it forced us to rewrite part of the code that regulates the interaction between the differential and the engine brake map. But the result was immediate: a platform that transmits more information to the driver, that responds with less effort, and that allows higher minimum speeds to be maintained without compromising the integrity of the tire. Another technical detail that summarizes the philosophy of the MCL40 is the way in which its chassis is prepared for multiple aerodynamic configurations without the need to redesign the basic structure. This gives the team an invaluable strategic advantage. They can introduce specific packages for circuits like Monaco or Monza without disturbing the balance of the car. This tactical flexibility was one of the pillars of success in the previous season, and now it has been taken to the extreme. But perhaps the greatest hidden power of the MCL40 is its adaptability to the driving style of its drivers. It is not a car designed for a single type of behavior. It can be aggressive or methodical depending on how it is set up. The same chassis that allows Norris to attack curbs with confidence is capable of responding smoothly to Piastri's surgical line. This is the result of joint work between the track engineers and the drivers, who actively participated in each stage of development through the simulator and direct feedback in private technical test sessions. The goal was simple: make a car that was not just fast, but fast in the hands of two radically different drivers. Let me know in the comments what you think about all this.